Hey everybody, what's up? And I'm going to do my next Super Turbo video looking at the $20 level and $35 level, and we'll just see what the play is like in a fairly small sample, and also see what other technical things we can pick up. And the guys just said, I'm on a video. That's pretty funny. Alright, now on this board, when he hasn't re-raised me pre-flop, then I'm assuming he doesn't have an ace, and therefore my 3 is good. And he's chatting to me. And yeah, so now he re-raises me, and I assume that my 3 is good, so I'm going to ship this in. And I am wrong, so wrong. And he's got his second pair, so that's alright for me. And alright, pretty shocked, kind of replay that guy too, pretty shocked that he turned up with an ace in that spot that he flat called me with ace 9. So that was why I sort of shoved the flop, and I'm happy with the decision. It turned out to be a wrong decision, but you know, in these things you go with it, and you know, it's you make a decision, and that's that. Alright, so the rematch, and if he beats me 2-0, I'm going to feel bad. Alright, so obviously just raise and c-bet's pretty standard here, and hopefully he doesn't come over the top, and that's good. Alright, so I would put this player down as tight, simply because he flat called ace 9, whereas I would probably be shoving ace 9 over a min raise. And while it's fine to be raising junk, I'm not going to call with junk, so queen 5 goes into the muck. Worst hand that I'd probably call with would be something that has a little bit more potential while we're deep, something like sort of 10-9 suited, or maybe jack 9 suited. Sometimes I call jack 8, but that's a little bit loose of me, I think. Yeah, and he folds to my min raise, so yeah, a little bit tighter than your average player here. And I'm going to flat with king 10. I know some players will 3-bet sort of king jack and better, but I just want to see a flop, and obviously this is not the greatest flop in the world. And I'm not going to make a move at this stage, simply because I don't think there's any need to. So basically, it's not a bad move, or is it a good board or a bad board to make a move on? You haven't raised in pre-flop, so he won't know. He won't put you on an ace. So I mean, it's not the best board to 3-bet pre-flop. So to make a move on post-flop. God, why am I saying 3-bet? You get the idea. Alright, and his opening just a little bit much, so I think he might be tight aggressive rather than just tight, based on the fact that he's raising me more pre-flop than normal. And this is a very interesting spot. I know a lot of guys would ship it in here with any pocket pair they feel obliged to call. I'm going to let it go. I think that, you know, at best I'm going to be flipping. There's only 60 chips in the pot. I've got a playable stack, and I'll let that go. I think he's going to have me, you know, either dominated or I'm flipping at best. And then he limps, which is quite interesting. He hasn't been limping much, and I wonder if it's because he knows that he just, he knows that he just sort of shoved me, and he's worried that I'm going to get aggressive on him. And he flat calls me, which I don't like too much. I wonder if he's limping strong. This is an interesting spot. He hasn't bet the turn. Only card I can put him on here is, I don't know, I think he would bet a 9. I can't imagine what he's got here. I really can't. Alright, I'm going to check it out. What did he have? Go look at the last hand. Then he had king 5, so he had a gut shot, which is not unreasonable. And his limping range looks weak. Close down that. Alright. So I'll try shoving over his limps in a second when he does it again. So min raising works well against him. And king 8's definitely good enough to call, and good enough to miss. Not the best turn in the world. I could try and represent, I guess. I mean, he's not going to have an ace every time, but we'll just give it up. I mean, if I do bet there, I'm trying to pretend I've got an ace or a 4, which is getting a little bit unlikely. Alright, min raise here, so that obviously if he shoves, I'll be happy to call his shove. And I think what we need to do now is look for some hands to shove over the top of his min raises, or if he limps. Yeah, gotta shove this. If he's trapping me, then he wins. But we know he limped weak with king 5. Yep. Alright, and now we've got him down around 11 big blinds, and I can shove 10, 9, 11 big blinds. Hopefully he can't call. Yeah, that works. Got ourselves a little bit of a lead, and obviously ace queen is well good enough to go in, and he folds, which is good timing from him. So, alright, so at this stage now he's down around sort of 9 or 10 big blinds. It's basically, I'm going to be shove folding. Anything that's shovable I'll shove, unless it's too good to shove, in which case I'll just min raise, as you would have picked up from previous videos. And 6-5 is not shovable. And what I'm basing my judgment for what's shovable and not on is the Chubukov chart, which I've put in my previous, I put a link in that to the previous video. I know that he's limping weak, but I'm still not going to shove 7-2, which might be a bit weak of me, but who knows. I also did shove over his previous limp, and therefore I'm not going to shove over this one, but maybe the next one. And king 2, actually not sure if that's shovable or not. It's got to be pretty close, but I think I will give it a miss. I'll have to check that on the chart later on, see if it's shovable or not. Right, so if he limps here, I'll shove, and if he min raises, I'll obviously fold. Okay, time to find a hand, please. And 4-6 is not it. Alright, we're getting a bit card dead here. And there's a lucky great press. Alright, so we need to find something to shove, and we're just running a little bit cold. Alright, snap, shove or call if he wants to shove, and he lets it go. And he's pretty tight here, and I'd like to be exploiting that by shoving. I haven't checked Jack 7, that might be shovable too, but hey, why shove Jack 7 when you can get Jack 2 and fold? Alright, down to around 7 big blinds, let's get aggressive now. And that's going in. Good-o. And this is a snap call if he wants to shove at this many big blinds. And we're behind. And we're not going to hit. Alright. So, not the best start, but that will do. We'll go play some more matches and hope to get our money back. Alright, so match 3 here, and let's see how we go. Hopefully better than the first 2 where I got owned, but never mind. Alright, so folds my min raise, and we're thinking tight. And then limps. We love people that limp in these things. And not the best flop. Let's see what he does. And he checks it pretty quickly. I wonder if I could steal this on the turn. Just looking at the speed at which he checked post flop, that is a tell, and that's why I bet the turn there. So that's why it's a good thing that we have some live. That we have a live video for this, because you really want to pick up on the timing tells. And he checked very quickly there as well. This guy, I think that's the way he's doing his timing is basically if he checks quickly he's not interested, and if he takes a while then I'm going to assume that he's interested. And Queen's not the greatest card in the world for me here, but alright, so he's very fiddle fold, giving up very easily post flop, isn't he? and I'll just continue min raising until he starts getting more aggressive, which he now has. And now I'll slow down a little bit. And insta-limp with an insta-limp there. 40 chips in there. I think I'm just going to shove it and take the risk that he's got a good hand. Oops. Oh, he's got Jack 10. So that's a... that worked out pretty well for us. Really, I was hoping he was going to fold, but not obviously if he's going to call with Jack 10 I'm going to win, so that worked out pretty well. What you can take from that match is obviously the timing, that if the guy's doing things very quickly and don't appear interested, then you can have a steal, even if you're not really representing anything logically. If they're fit or fold and they don't look interested, have a crack at the hand. Alright, so we're up against Kid Garlic in the fourth match, which is an interesting moniker. Alright, so 7-8. This is... well, I don't know. I think it's an interesting hand. I've been calling it a lot, and I think it's a leak, and I think I simply should fold it. So what's the worst hand? We talked about sort of Jack 9 suited, Jack 8. I think maybe 10-9 offsuit I would call. 9-8 possibly, but I think 7-8 is just a little bit crappy to be calling, and I'm going to let that one go. So that'll give you a better idea about sort of calling ranges on junk hands. Maybe 9-8 or 10-9 is the worst you want to consider. And alright, this guy's folded a couple, so I'm assuming that he looks a little bit tight. And that's a pretty good flop for us. There's enough in this flop that I think we should see bet. If it was something like King 9, 7 or something, I might well check behind. I often check top pair in this spot, but I think here it's worth betting. He could well have stuff like sort of Queen 10 or Queen 9, 10-9 for a gut shot. So yeah, worth see betting in that spot, just because the board is just wet enough to make it likely for us to get called. And here with our gut shot, I'm going to let it go. We don't have any backdoor diamond stuff or anything like that, so I just think we could only be drawing to sort of 3 out, so I'll let that one go. And continue to raise whenever he's not being too aggressive. And continue to see bet until that doesn't work out as well. And it has now not worked out. So let it go. And this guy just looks pretty tight, straight down the middle. Not raising much pre-flop, which is fine. Here I'm going to raise it, and I think I'll get it in. Alright. Let's see. I mean, I wonder if he's on a heart draw. Alright, well, if he's on a heart draw, he's missed, which means you're only getting called by a 7. Can't bet too much if it's a 7, maybe 160. And he actually had the Queen, so that's a little bit interesting. Can I get that? He had a Queen 5, which means he had just purely a heart draw, and then picked up the Queen on the turn. Alright, what's he got left there? 10 big blinds. I can shove A7 easily there. Sorry about that. Sorry about the hand replay popping up on the screen there. I was trying to look at his hand there. Alright, Ace 5, insta call, and up against 9-8. Just got to win this one, we'll be happy. He's got lots of outs, but misses. Alright then, that's that fourth match, so we shall decline him and move on, have a look at another one. But before we do, just one of the skills that you need to work on is putting your opponent on a hand, and the reason that you put them on a hand is because it really helps you with your bet sizing on the sort of the turn and the flop, and especially the river. So think about, if he's on a draw, how much is he calling? If he's got a pair, how much is he calling? And that'll help you work your bet sizing out. Right, let's move on to the next match. This is the last match in the 20s before we move on to the 35s and have a look at those. And no need to tell you what to do with 2-3 offsuit. One thing to notice is the guy's 3x'd, and if someone 3x's, I normally assume that they're fairly aggressive. And we'll see how often he 3x's. Look at the frequency. If he's doing a lot, then you need to be shoving over the top of it, just because there's so many chips sitting there that you need to be fairly aggressive against 3x raises. He 3x's and folds. I think that's a fairly big leg. And I'll just min raise this, and seeing that I've 3x'd him, seeing I've shoved over his 3x raise, some hope that he's going to shove there in retaliation, but he didn't. Right, I'm going to c-bet. I know it's a wet ball, but it's also low. It shouldn't hit his calling range, and apparently it has. So there you go. He's calling on junk, I would assume, if that's hitting his range. One good thing about shoving over people's 3x raise is that it does stop them from 3xing so much. They don't want to give away the chips. Here I'm going to limp just because I know he's aggressive and I think there's a fair chance he might attack my limp, which he does. And now I can ship it in, and that should annoy him, which it does. Yeah, that limping good hands I would only do once the player has already proven that he's aggressive. Don't go working on the assumption that they're aggressive until you know they are, and then you might try limping. So don't go limping against random opponents, is what I'm trying to say. And, alright, we know he calls on junk, so this is likely enough to hit his calling range. I'm just going to check it back. 3 is an interesting card. Don't bet 80, please. 60. I'm going to snap him off here, and then give up on the river if he bets huge. Thank you. Alright, he's betting his middle pair there. So yeah, calling on 9-7. He's calling on junk. That's fairly clear. But he's slowed down on his raising since we came over the top of his raise there. Alright, so we simply wait and shove fairly aggressively over his raises, though he has slowed down, so I might be a little bit more cautious around his raises. And not going to go far with 2-5. We know he can attack limps, so I can't try limping or anything like that. So we simply need to wait and catch a hand. And 8-3 is not that hand. When people are very aggressive like this, and you're getting junk cards, it can get frustrating, but you've probably got 2 options, which is fold or shove. There's not going to be any limping option, or normally not much of a raising option either against these guys, because they don't fold to your raises. You're just making things worse then. So I'll just be patient, simple as that, and if I catch some cards, then good things will happen, and if not, I shall wait, and basically wait till we hit a stage where I can be shoving, which I like to do around sort of 10 big blinds. Don't raise, please. Good. And I'll sort of shove any shovable hand at that stage, but until then I'm just going to be a little bit patient and hope for good things to happen. And this min raise really worries me. He might have a really strong hand. He might be 3xing his junk and min raising his good hands, which we'll find out, or it might be weaker than the others, which it turns out to be. So he's got variable raise sizes, and neither of them are really strong. King 3 I'm a little bit deep to shove, so I'll just let that go. And now I'm at 10 big blinds, so I'll get a lot more aggressive pre-flop. It's an interesting spot. I think basically what I'm going to do is fold it, not really deep enough to call it, and I'll just maintain my chips so that I can have decent fold equity for shoving. I would have shoved that pre-flop. Queen 3, and we're at what are we at? 9 big blinds. I'll let that go. I think I can. That might be right on the edge of what I can shove. I'm being a little bit patient against this guy. and not being rewarded by very good cards, but he is folding enough so that I can afford not to take the really close shoves, and this is not even a close shove, this is just going in. And yep, we avoided a good hand from him, which is nice. Could consider shoving over his limp, but you know, 6-3 is not that tempting. It's not going to play so well if I get cold, so we shall be patient. And 4-6 is not shovable. We shall simply wait. And obviously this is going in if he raises shoves or limps. That's good enough to get him at this stage. King 6 is shovable. And yep, we've avoided anything good on his behalf. The other thing is that you are a little bit less likely to get cold because you're not shoving so much. You're being a little bit more patient. Alright, so his limps are definitely weak, meaning that we can probably attack his limps fairly aggressively. I wasn't so keen on 3-6. Alright, and Jack 2. Yeah, lovely. Let's try again. This is the one I'll get caught on, I assume. Nope, that's all good. So yeah, I mean, this guy does have fairly big leaks in that, you know, he's limping and folding. And we've been called by pocket kings. That's just standard, no problem. Still catch a 9. Be funny. Nope. No problem with that at all. It's a standard shove and it just didn't work out. That's no problem. Alright, let's go play some 35s. So this is our first $35 match, and if you're thinking about getting into these Super Turbos, I'm not sure if I've addressed your bankroll, but I would strongly suggest that you have about 100 buy-ins. I know that's different if you can reload, but if you sort of don't want to redeposit in your roll, then I think about 100 buy-ins, just so that you can play without stress. I often go on sort of 10, 15 buy-in downswings. Seems like it's almost at a daily basis. So, you know, I would suggest that you have a decent bankroll. Alright. You don't want to lose sort of 20 buy-ins and be stressed about it. Whereas regular speeds, I would think if you're a good winning player, somewhere around 30 buy-ins should be sufficient. Alright, this hand here, not really sure what he's got. It does look like he's making a very bluffy river bet here. And I think I'm going to snap it. If he's got a 5, I'm just going to feel like an idiot. But I think he's got something like 6-7 or 7-8. Let's see. Or 2 spades. Yeah. He had a gut shot which missed. What made me call that was simply his bet sizing on the river. When you bet 160 into 160 pot, it really looks like you don't want to get called. And that was the case there. So I called. If he had a better, more reasonable value bet sort of size, like something like 100, I would have probably folded, but the 160 just looked like it was FOS, and it was. So bet sizing for the win there. I know that I do say make sure that you make your bluffs hard to call, but the full pot bluff was just a little bit much there. Alright, we're going to fold this. He's down around 12 big blinds, but he's not attacking my min raises too much, so I will be min raising him and folding if he shoves until that proves to be too costly, if that makes sense. And now he's down at what is it, 8 big blinds exactly, so I guess we'll have to go into shove fold. So I would have done the min raise and fold thing when he was a little bit deeper, and simply because he's not too hasn't been aggressive and hasn't attacked my min raise, so I kind of do that until people make it too expensive for me. And Jack King's going in unless he folds, and yeah, just not getting anything shovable, so a little bit of patience. And he's folding quite a lot Alright, 10-7 at 8 big blinds. I don't think that's shovable. I should check the chart. I don't know the chart that well. I've got a vague idea, especially with the which kings and queens I can shove, but below that it's a bit fuzzy for me. What's he at? 8 big blinds for king 2. I'm pretty sure that's got to be somewhere close. And worked out alright anyway. Ace 3, of course I'll snap call his shove, even though he hasn't been, alright. This is interesting. He hasn't been raising much, so I think that he's probably got a very strong hand here, and I've messed this up. Yeah, ace queen. He hasn't been raising much pre-flop, and then the raise size was not a shove, it was like a smaller raise size, so I probably should fold ace 3 there, but I just think it's such a strong hand and he's so short that I probably have to get in with it. And now he's at 13 big blinds, so I'll try this min raising. And now he's not at 13 big blinds. He's down at 10, so I won't try min raising. Alright, let's see what can get this shovable. And 5-2 isn't. Man, I'd hate to lose this match considering that I made a great call against this guy. But considering how tight he was, ace 3 was probably foldable, but who knows. Fold, please, sir. He's thinking about it, then folds. Good, eh? Oh, can we mess up with ace 3 again? Yes, we can. Alright, so we're ahead. Just got to win. And looks like we're going to, unless he catches runner, which he doesn't. Right, so that's a $35 match. What you can take out of that is bet sizing on the river. Like, once again, put them on a hand, and the hand which I'm talking about, I'll just quickly review it. The hand which I'm talking about is, there it is, it's, where is it? This one here, second hand of the match. Lots of draws on the flop. You know, at least a straight draw and a couple of gut shots. And when he bets 160, let's go through it. So min raise and call. I bet he doesn't raise me, which makes me think he's not going to come up with a 9 here. Shouldn't have too many 5s and 4s in his range, but they're possible. He checks the turn and then smacks out 160 on the river, and it just looks like he's got some sort of draw that's missed. You know, possibly 6-7 or 7-8, or as it turned out, ace 2 or ace 3, or a spade draw, which is why I called it, because of his bet sizing. As I said, if he had have bet 100 here, I would have folded. So bet sizing for the win there. Alright, let's go on to the next match. We've got the next match here at the 35s. Against someone obviously that I haven't played before, and he's limping, which we like. And this sort of flop, queen 10-8, I often think it's going to hit people's both calling and limping range. And with the extra heart on the board, it now becomes a poor board to bluff, because you get called by a heart, basically any heart, as well as a 9 and a jack and so on. So you can imagine he's going to call there with the king of hearts, obviously. So that third heart makes it very unbluffable. And shoving over my min raise, okay. Alright, I think we just ran into a hand there. We'll continue to min raise, especially if we pick up king-king. And a bit of a dry flop here. I might check it back and let him catch up and hope he doesn't catch up too far. Insta call. I wonder if that's a draw, or if it's a 7 or a 10. Well, if he's got a 10, he's got a 10. I'm not going to fold. You know, good luck to him. I'm going to raise him up and hope he's got a 7 here. And alright, he just had a bluff. I think it was a misdraw. So that works. Not going to attack his limp. I think he's limping both strong and weak hands, but what I will do is check raise him should he bet, which he doesn't. bet the turn. There's lots of draws out there, you know, the 8 and the 10 and so on. So get value from those. And maybe that's a little bit much, but never mind. Min raised this and hope he doesn't shove, which he doesn't. Thank you, sir. And now we're just going to bet it. I think we can get a fold out of this guy. Assuming he's missed the jack, which he may not have. Oh, never mind. And obviously we're going to avoid his 3x raise, considering he's been limping everything else. You know, and that's a spot where if I had something like ace-3, a6, a7, I'd just let it go, assuming I'm not feeling like a complete idiot. Might shove over his min raise though. I think his 3x might be strong and his min raise might be weak. We'll find out. Yeah, I thought so. I mean, this is a theme that we've gone over so many times. The variable raise size. When you see it, punish it. Simple as that. Alright. And we're going to have another crack here. Don't like the timing of his check there, but it turns out to be okay. And alright, always checking how many big blinds he's got, and he's down around 12. Could shove over his limp, because we know that his limp's probably going to be fairly weak considering he has been 3xing, but we're just going to take a little bit of a conservative option at the moment. Hopefully bink on the river, thank you very much. And here I don't think there's much value in shoving. I can't imagine him calling on less than a 5. He could easily have a better straight as well, so we'll just flat call. If he's got, yeah, he's got the 5 as well. You know, I just don't see the point in shoving there against someone that hasn't seemed to be sort of completely insane. Right, Jack 10 and shove over his limp. It's a good enough hand, and if he's limped a strong hand, good luck to him. Right, got him down just around 9 big blinds now. So 5-4, we go nowhere with. And you can see how I play these. I sort of play them for the first few minutes, kind of like normal poker, and then I just get in the shove mode around 10 big blinds. And anything that's shovable goes in, and anything that's not, I sort of dump, basically. Shove over his limp. If he's got a hand and he's tracked me, then good luck to him. So yeah, it's he's playing pretty straightforward. I think the limp folding, or even worse, which some people do, the min raise and fold. I mean, it's a pretty big leak. So that would be this guy's leak, this sort of limp folding trick that he does. And now he's outright folding. That's the advantage of shoving over the limps, just the same as shoving over the min raises, is that people will then stop limping and you get free blinds that way, because they're afraid you're going to shove over that limp. And not going to shove over this one. Or hit, apparently. Oops, I just clicked on the wrong button there. Where's my screen button? There it is. Clicked on the wrong button on the screen. Alright. And I think you could easily have a draw here. And furthermore, we're splitting the 6s now that the kings come, unless he's got king 6. So I'm going to bet here and hopefully split, and he's got ace king. Nice catch, sir. Not a very good call, I don't think, by him, but it worked out for him when he hit his river. And we know now that he's limping strong as well, so we'll have to be a little bit wary shoving over his limps. And not very good cards, but we should be patient. And we shall fold. I'm not going far with 7-3 either. Alright, some hands please. he's having a lovely old time, and not much we can do really. We simply haven't got any very good cards. King 6 is going in. If he's got a better hand, he's got a better hand. Good-o. Alright, 330, so a little bit less than 7 big blinds, which is a playable stack. Queen 7 is interesting. I'm going to shove over his limp for sure. If his limp's strong, then good luck to him, which I guess he has. But he was raising enough, and we do have outs, which we've all missed. Yep. Alright, that's that match. We should go to another. This guy was sitting in the line, and which makes me think that he's probably competent, so we shall find out. I'm just going to flat call King Queen. I'm not going to get too aggressive with it early on, and I'm going to call his c-bet here as long as it's not 80. I'm going to call the c-bet and see what he does on the turn. And now, it's not such a comfortable spot for me. I'm probably fairly committed, but we like the fact that he's checked. I think especially the larger c-bet size was designed to get me to fold. So now I'll just bet here for value. And he folds, yeah, so his larger c-bet size, 60 and the 80 pot, was trying to get me to fold, and he obviously didn't have anything, I think. But perhaps that's his standard c-bet size, who knows. And now he limps, okay. And I assume he's going to attack this and take it down. No, he's not. Well, not much I can do with 4-7, unless we bink the river. Now, am I going to get called by worse? No, but it's going to stop him from bluffing the river. And, alright, I did get called by worse. Now I'm going to limp this because he attacked my raise the last one, let's see, and he was ready to fold. So, not the best limp. So, just because he attacked one raise, I shouldn't assume that he's going to attack every raise, should I? I don't think I'm going to shove this. I know the guy's fairly aggressive. Well, why do I know that? Well, you know, he min-raised and c-bet a bit larger, and he attacked my my min-raise, so assuming he's fairly aggressive, and obviously I'll raise this and get it in. After I just shoved him, it's going to be tempting for him to shove me, but he didn't. And obviously ace-10's good enough to get in, and he's going to fold. Nice timing, sir. And if I catch a strong hand, I might try limping and see if he wants to attack my limp. I know he's got aggression in him, and he seems to be a bit of a thinking player. So therefore, me limping, he might be tempted to shove over the limp. So that might be a possible plan against this guy. And alright, now we've got 8-9. Bit of a tricky hand. I don't really want to min-raise and fold. So therefore, I'm just going to shove it. Give him no fold equity. That worked. Yeah, I had to work out what to do with that myself. I mean, if I min-raise and he shoves, I really don't want to call his shove. If I limp, he might shove. I'm sort of tempting him to shove. So therefore, I'll simply shove and let him make up his mind. And King 5 at, what are we at? 10, 11, 12. Just a little bit deeper. I'd be happier shoving that at 10. So I'll just let that go. Please don't shove. Alright, I'm going to call you shoving a lot. And, you know, we've still got chips if we miss, which we have a lot. We've got a lot of outs here. And we're going to miss them all. Standard. 6 queen for 10 big blinds. Also, a bit less, I'll get that in, and he insta calls me on King 2. Wow, that's a pretty big call. And hits, that's rather nice. He didn't run too bad there. Might play this guy again just because he annoys me, and he did snap me off pretty light, I thought. And we're going to have a rematch, which we'll go and find. Oops, where's it gone? There it is. Yeah, he snapped me off a bit light. I thought he's getting in just a little bit light, and therefore I want to rematch him and catch something, hopefully. Yeah, he's aggressive, this boy. I think the player note I'll make here is aggro, and I would say gets, oops, that's the wrong thing, gets it in light. Oops, I'll finish that thought later. And change his note to red, because red's the colour I use for aggressive players. So I'm going to have to be fairly careful pre-flop against this guy. I don't want to be raising and having him shove over my raises. I'm going to shove over his raise here, or his limp, and that should annoy him. Try limping this. Let's see what he does. Is he going to attack my limps? If so, then I'll try and limp a monster. If he's going to let me get away with limping, then I'll try limping some of these medium hands. Alright, just the min raise, that's interesting. How much trouble am I getting myself into? Not much on this flop. I've got a diamond out, but that's about all. I think I'll let this go. Alright, 10 jack. I might limp, and if he does the little min raise thing, then I can comfortably call. Just controlling pot size. Have a stab here. Get called. So I'm not putting him on an 8. Sorry, I'm not putting him on a queen. More likely an 8 or a draw. And that's obviously the nut card for me. No diamond, please. And that's a very good card. I think I'm just going to try and pump him in case he's got an 8 by betting 60. And he folds. So possibly a diamond draw. I think he would have called an 8 for a third barrel there. And the other thing I'm going to do against this guy is shove a fairly strong hand, because he does seem to be willing to call my shoves pretty light. And this is a very wet flop, but he checked quickly, which is why I'm betting. Yeah, 2-3 we're not going far with. Or 2-6, so some cards would be nice, please. But we'll basically make it to the 20-40 level where all the shoving happens with a reasonable stack, and then we have some sort of plan, which is shove a little bit lighter than he is expecting. And now we can have a little value bet. He called us in this spot last time, and he must have hit a straight or a flush, I'm thinking. So we'll let that go. Alright, Queen Jack is definitely shovable against this guy. In fact, against anyone, but I know he calls a bit light, so fair chance that Queen Jack's good. And please fold. Nope. Queen 9. Fold, please, buddy. I was hoping to shove a little bit heavier, but nothing shovable has come. Nothing sort of good has come in this match so far. Some shovable stuff, but not good enough. I was hoping to shove something like Ace 9 or something and get called light by this guy. Alright, pseudo connectors are interesting. They don't play so well heads up when you're shallow. So, I'm not so keen to shove stuff like 4-5. 7-8, I think, knowing that he's willing to call light, I'm not going to shove that. Just one of those days where I'm not catching much. Or one of those matches at least. And this is very shovable. I mean, he called me on King 2 for a similar stack before. And this is well over his limp. That seems to have, maybe he's just not hitting any cards. Oh, the famous Queen 10, we went out on this last time, let's see if we can do it again. Nope. Maybe he's not catching anything or he's tightened up. Those. And Queen 3 will let go. Just basically waiting for anything to shovel, and now we're even lower, less than 8 big blinds. Jay, we catch your hand. And I think I'm going to do... I'm just going to shove. The guy does call light. And he folds. I don't know. I don't. It's not a made hand. I don't really want to see a flop with it, do I? And we've been shoving a lot. We're bound to get caught, aren't we? Right now. Nope. All right. So far, so good. And the fact that we've been shoving a lot has then got him to a fold rather than a mint, which works to our advantage. So now we just need to catch a hand. Alright, so yeah, we've been pretty aggressive with our shoving, and now we just need to be a little bit patient. And we get it in good. And hold. Sick. So we're in here with a shot. And 3-9's not good enough to call his shove. And Jack 7, I said I have to check Jack 7 how many big blinds I can shove it for. It's got to be close. 7-3, lovely. But we get a fold, that's good. Alright, let's catch a hand and finish this guy off, please. Alright, shove, buddy. Let me hold. Nope. Alright. So other things that we can talk about, we talked about bankroll management in these things. One thing which Mercenary said to me, which was a good tip, is he said even in these things, you get your money from the fish, and if someone looks even vaguely competent, you probably should not rematch them. The edges are very small, and basically you're better off looking for fish in these things. And min raise, which I suspect is strong, and we simply can't catch very much. I'm shoving anything which I think is remotely shovable, and I'm not catching much which is remotely shovable. Now he limps. Well, we're not going to do anything silly, buddy. All yours. God, 9-8. How many big blinds is it? Oops, insta-call, we're in trouble. Oh, we got some outs. Just got to hit a 9 or an 8. Nope. Nope, and nope. Alright, so that's that. Not the greatest ending to the video, but we were pretty card dead in that one, so it's all good. And I'll finish that up, and I hope you enjoyed it. A few points that we covered, which I think are worth looking at. The variable raise size, which we've looked at before, of course. Attacking people's limps when you think that they're weak. Sort of what you would call on for a min raise when you're deep, and a few other things as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. Until the next one, run good.